What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching the Texas channel here at the Voice of College Football. We're going to give you a very early projected record for Texas based off of their 2023 schedule here in this video. Here are some of the projections from last season going into the year. You see, they were 8-4 in the regular season. Our projection had them at 7-5. I actually picked this team to go 8-4, so I got the record right in my predictions. Of course, I'm not going to do any predictions until after spring. This is simply a projection based off of how tough the schedule is. The FPI, they were high on Texas last year, 9.4 and 3.2. Of course, that would include potentially a Big 12 championship game, but they had them closer to 9-3, and the over-under was at 8.5, meaning the most likely records according to Vegas would have been 8-4 or 9-3. So there was plenty of hype for Texas last year, and again, 8-4, really about what they were expected to do. You look back at the schedule here for 2023, and what we're going to do, this is the scale that we use for the projections. If it's a 50-50 game, it'll stay in the white. That's a game that I think the spread will be less than a touchdown. Under 20, over 80, games where I think the spread will be 20 or more points. 20-29, 71-80, those are games where I think the spread will be 10-19 points in that range. And then the 30, 39, 61, 70, those are games that I think the spread will be about a touchdown, 6, 7, 8 points, kind of in that range. So we'll start with the easy wins for Texas. I think you've got really just a couple of those. Rice and Wyoming, they should be 24, 28 point favorites in both of these games. Not really no chance of them losing those games. So the easy wins there, Rice and Wyoming, and that's really about it. I would say those are the only easy wins for Texas. Of course, the Big 12 is going to be really tough. There are no easy wins in this conference. I do think there are a couple of games, though, where Texas will be favored by double digits. That's Houston and BYU. Just looking at where these teams finished last year, Texas has a clear advantage, I think, and they should be favored by a couple of touchdowns in both of those games. But that's about it. Everything else here is more of a game that's going to almost could go either way. Games that where the spread is going to be about a touchdown, 6, 7, 8 points, kind of in that range. I do think Kansas, Baylor, Iowa State, Texas Tech. Texas should be favored. They should be a clear favorite in all four of those games, but not by a big margin. 6, 7, 8 points, like I said. You look at Baylor. They were pretty young last year. Coming back this year, they're going to be tough. That's a game on the road. Iowa State's always tough on the road. Texas Tech, they could be a surprise team this year. And, of course, they beat Texas last season. And then Kansas is kind of a wild card. I'm not sure how good they're going to be. Perhaps that one should be in the blue, especially at home. But, again, based off of where they finished last year, I think that's where this game should be. I think you have one game where Texas will be a clear underdog. That's Alabama on the road. I don't think they'll be big underdogs, though. 7 or 8 points probably. Texas has a chance in that one, but I do think it'll be pretty clear that Bama will be favored in that game. And that leaves Oklahoma, Kansas State, and TCU. These are your 50-50 games that could go either way. I realized that the game was not close against Oklahoma last year, but Dylan Gabriel was not in that game. It's a rivalry game. This is basically a 50-50 game every single year. It doesn't really matter about the records. Texas has been an underdog in this game many times, and it has won the game outright. So I think that one for sure is a 50-50 game. I look at Kansas State. This is going to be a quality team. I would favor Texas because it's at home, but not by much, just 3 or 4 points. So I think that's a 50-50 game. And then TCU on the road, I'd probably favor TCU right now. I know Max Duggan is gone, but they have a lot coming back, and they've really used the transfer portal to kind of reload, and that game being on the road. I think TCU would be favored, but only by about a field goal. So those are the 3 games that, Texas, if they can win those games, they'll be in good shape. But to do the projection, we count the blue and the green games as wins. We use 35% for the game against Alabama, 65% for the games of the purple. The white games, Oklahoma, Kansas State, TCU, 50% for those. And then we average it all out. So doing with this formula, you get the projected record for Texas of 8-4. So 8-4 is the projection. I think most people are going to be a little bit higher on this team. But again, when you've got Baylor, Kansas, Iowa State, Texas Tech, games that they'll be favored in, but games that they can lose. Again, lost to Texas Tech last year. So these are going to be tough games, not going to be easy wins. You got the Alabama game where they're going to be an underdog. So you can just look at it and say, Alabama, Oklahoma, Kansas State, TCU, if they split those games, go 2-2 in those games, and then they split these games in the purple, that would put you at 8-4. If they can win 3 out of the 4 of the purple games, that's going to put you at 9-3. And the projection was closer to 9-3 than it was to 7-5. It was actually very close to being 9-3. I think it was like 8.4 wins. So it was really close to 9-3, but just under that number. And 8-4 is what it came out to be. So 8-4, the projection for Texas, the exact same record as last season. I personally think they'll probably do a little bit better than that. Again, my predictions won't come till later, but just using this formula, again, Texas projected to go 8-4 in 2023.